Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm back with another tag video. I'm trying to catch up on the tags that I still have to do. And today I'm gonna do the Choose the Year tag. This tag was created by Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures, and I was very kindly tagged by Jenny from Bookish Shenanigans, so I will link those two channels down below. So basically the idea of this tag is to pick a year, any year that you fancy or for whichever reason you want to look at it, and then you look at the books that have been published in that year, and then there's a short series of questions. So the first question is obviously choose a year and say why. So I'm very uninventive about this, and I chose to pick my birth year, which is 1992. The second question is which books published in that year have you read, or if none, heard of. So interestingly, I haven't read any of the books that have been published in 1992, but I have heard about quite a few of them. So the first two ones that piqued my interest were actually two children's books from the Goosebumps series, which is kind of a creepy, scary series for kids, which was written by R.L. Stine. And I remember reading these books a lot as a kid, so I cannot tell you for sure if I have read the two that came out in that year, but the probability is really high. So the two in question are Stay Out of the Basement and Welcome to Camp Nightmare. So in the first one we follow two kids who are finding out what their father, who is kind of a mad scientist, is doing in the basement, and there's like human eating plants involved. And the second one is about a boy, Billy, who is going to this camp, and then he suddenly starts seeing some of his fellow campers who disappear, and it turns out he has no possibility of getting contact to the outside world. So yeah, I can just say from what I remember reading these books, it was always a lot of fun. I read quite a lot of them, and yeah, so definitely have heard of these. The second one was actually really surprising to me, and it's actually a book that I own and I still haven't read, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I've heard so many great things about this book. I know that it takes place on a campus and we follow a group of students, and we know that there has been a murder going on, and we basically go back in time, and one of these students is commenting upon what happened and how it led to that murder. So it actually sounds like exactly my cup of tea. But for some reason I've just been putting it off because I think I'm kind of scared that I won't like it. How it often is with hype books, so I guess that it was published in 1992 is just one more excuse for me to actually having to get to it. And finally, another book that I have heard about, which is by Amélie Nothomb, which is a Belgian author, but she has been translated quite a lot in English, I believe. And in 1992, her book Hygiène de l'Assassin came out, and it's about a Nobel Prize laureate who basically only has a few months to live, and a group of 4 journalists are selected to be the ones to do the last interview of this person. And apparently it turns sour quite fast. It turns out this guy is completely horrible, and there's also secrets being uncovered during that interview. I have read one book by Amélie Nothomb so far, and it's Stupeur et Tremblement, which is kind of a semi-autobiographical account of her growing up and living in Japan. And it was kind of okay. I wasn't blown away by it. I know a lot of people are really big fans of her writing style. It's kind of raw and sometimes a bit violent. But yeah, it doesn't really appeal to me. So this is a book I've heard of, but probably won't pick up. The third question is, are there any books published in that year that you would be interested in and you would read now? So for this question I have picked 3 books, and the 2 first ones are books by Terry Pratchett. So I have read a few of Terry Pratchett's books, mostly from the Witches series, which I really like. I really like the world building, and I really like his humor also. And the 2 books in question are Small Gods and Lord and Ladies. So Small Gods has actually been described as one of Terry Pratchett's best Discworld novel, and it's kind of a musing and commenting of his about faith and religion. So he explores that within his Discworld. And Lord and Ladies is apparently the 4th book in the Witches series, so I still haven't read the 3rd one, I believe. So this sounds definitely like something I would pick up. And finally, we have a book by Anne Patchett. I haven't read any Anne Patchett yet, but I have heard about her quite a lot. And the book in question is called The Patron Saint of Liars. I don't know much about it, but I know it's a story about a woman who leaves her life behind and goes to some kind of home for unwed mothers in Kentucky and all the things that ensue from there. It definitely sounds intriguing to me, but there are some mixed reviews on Goodreads, so we'll see if I get to pick it up at some point, if I find it somewhere cheap. Would definitely be something interesting, at least from the premise. Now we're moving on to question 4, and it's the most obscure sounding book that was published in that year. And for me, it was definitely a book called Financial Peace Revisited. Sorry, I'm already laughing about it. So this is supposedly kind of an advice book for how to handle your finances, and from the description and from what people say about it, it sounds really trashy. So yeah, definitely this one is my pick. Another one which has a really ridiculously cheesy title is, I have to read it because it's so long, Women Who Run with the Wolves, Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype. Maybe look up the description if you're interested on Goodreads. I will link it down below. It sounds like something that's absolutely not my cup of tea, and it sounds super, super, super cheesy. And now we come finally to the 5th question, which is the strangest book cover published in that year. And that one is also a good one. You will see it right now. The book is called The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. So you see the cover. But actually, I'm a big fan of fairy tales and myths and legends. So I don't want to write off this book completely from what could be inside. I think it's interesting sometimes to have a modern take on how fairy tales are told and kind of put it in our modern perspective. So I don't know if this is what the book is actually doing, but it sounds really funny despite the really, really horrible cover. Alright guys, that's it. This was the Choose the Year tag. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks Jenny for tagging me, and I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!